Now, I'm going to be honest with you people, I'm a little bit scared because there are 4 things in my life which genuinely terrify me more than anything else on this entire planet. Number 1, being Jimmy Kimmel. Do I really need to explain that? No. Number 2, being my therapist. Do I need to explain that? Probably, but I haven't because I haven't gone to see him yet. Number 3, being this movie. No, it's not a person, but it's spread a lot of evil in this world. And number 4, the thing that's really terrifying me right now is Harry Potter and Voldemort. Oh yeah, and also J.K. Rowling, obviously, but I'm not too sure if I can include her on this list because, you know, she's more of a cyborg at this point, kind of like the Terminator. Because this book has been described as fiction, but I'm under the belief that this isn't fiction. This is a real thing, and the Dark Lord himself is slowly returning. He is coming back after that 7th movie, which we all liked, and he's back for vengeance.
And now is the time to declare yourself.
Because no, Harry Potter was not the final Horcrux. The final Horcrux was indeed Cheeto the cat. And I feel very bad for this cat because he's been through some dark and horrific ventures to become a Horcrux.
I didn't F my cat, I didn't coo on my cat, I didn't put my D anywhere near my...
He's back.
Sick. One take 2, common mark.
We're recording.
You're so beautiful. It's ridiculous.
Thank you.
He's back. I mean, unfortunately, he was never really gone, but you know, he has been uploading a few times here and there this year. I mean, who could forget this wonderful quote?
Involving the situation, I would just like to say that James Charles, I'm very sorry. Anything else that you guys want to know, it will never be spoken about. You can ask other people. I, just like last year, have fully removed myself. And did I get swept up into the again? Of course I did. And for that, I'm forever embarrassed of. Now, Breonna Taylor still has no justice. Black trans women are being murdered every day and the news is silent.
Yeah, my favourite Jeffree Star moment was when he used real-life tragedy and the murder of an innocent woman to deflect from internet drama. And yeah, unfortunately, this is where we're starting with this video, the manipulation from Jeffree Star. We won't be going through this whole thing because we have done that before, but I will be using this apology video, if you can even consider it an apology video, as a reference to do with the stuff that's come out recently. Because as I said in my recent video, Shane Dawson has started to slowly, sneakily come back into YouTube, not through the front door, but the back door of Ryland's channel, Instagram stories, and all that good stuff. But Jeffree Star, obviously, after the drama from 6 months ago, just dumped himself in it straight away, the Jeffree Star tactic. He jumped in and recently had an interview, as I said, with Shane Dawson's boyfriend Ryland, which I was fascinated by because at first I thought, you know, this isn't the worst interview in the world, and then I watched it twice and I thought, actually, it's kind of bad. Like, pretty bad. It kind of shows that these guys actually haven't taken any accountability whatsoever.
So they kind of helped me really push through and get over those hard feelings, but it was rough.
Yeah.
I think there's also something that's really easy to forget when you're being attacked on such a public scale by so many people, that there's also a huge amount of people who love you.
Yes. And for some reason you
yeah.
forget.
It's so easy because they're not as loud because they get shut down or whatever. But
it's scarier to defend as well.
Yeah.
It is.
So after everything and all the situations that Shane and Jeffree have been exposed for in the last year, they still believe that they, I guess, deserve some form of defense. And we will get onto that, but it's hilarious that this guy feels like there should be some defense there, but people are scared to say it because they get shut down. I believe these people get shut down for defending Jeffree Star because there's not really a defense to make. This is the same guy who says, yeah, guys, I'm embarrassed to be involved in drama and I'm never going to do it again, but only 5 days ago released this Instagram story.
I guess yesterday there was a bunch of drama with other people not involving me, but people still want to mention my name. First of all, I have no idea what happened. I don't give a I'm too busy worrying about me, myself, my family, and I don't care. I don't entertain it.
Jeffree loves to do this thing of where he involves himself into drama, but in the same posts, he then convinces his audience that, oh guys, I don't want to be involved in this, despite speaking about this on my Instagram story with millions of followers. The guy that doesn't want to be involved in drama has previously said he's embarrassed by him being involved in drama, then inserts himself into drama, which he clarifies he's not even involved in.
I just like last year, have fully removed myself. And did I get swept up into the again? Of course I did. And for that, I'm forever embarrassed of.
I mean, I guess the word forever is now subjective. Forever could even mean up until the end of time, or also it could mean Jeffree Star is a complete manipulator who used real-life tragedy to deflect from criticism and actually hasn't learned an entire thing and made a scripted response wrote by his PR team to get away with everything once again, but actually, I don't think it worked.
I don't want to stay on sad things for too long, but 2020 has also...
Oh, 2020 has been sad.
It's tried everyone.
Everyone and everything, and there's been so much craziness, devastation. The planet's a wreck.
Now, I do actually agree with this. 2020 has been a pretty tragic year, you know. A lot of terrible things have happened. We've been shut indoors all day. So many bad things, man. And I do feel like we're gradually turning a corner. And when I look out my window, I can see the planet, it's not a wreck. There's some good things out there. So I think we should just change this from the planet is a wreck to Jeffree Star's career is a wreck. Now, I'm not deflecting all the terrible things happening in this world, but I feel like in this situation and case study, it'd be a pretty suitable and viable thing to say. And yes, this year has sucked for pretty much all of us, but the reasons it sucked for us I think are very different to why they've sucked for Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. I think this year has sucked for them because of their own actions and them being held accountable for them.
And I was curious because I wanted to know throughout all of drama, like I know Shane and I could take a moment. We took a breath, we stopped working for a while, really like got to reflect and decide how we wanted to move forward. And I think for someone like you, it's not really an option when you have hundreds of employees and different launches piling up that you have to carry on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
How did you push through it? And I mean,
oh my,
he's like blunt.
I went on a 30-day medical leave and I came back. No, it was, yeah, it's crazy because you don't just get to, I couldn't just like turn off my brand and walk away. Not that I ever wanted to do that, but I think when everything happened.
I'm getting this really weird vibe from this podcast that Jeffree is being played up to be some form of victim, especially with when they previously said that, oh, it's difficult to defend Jeffree because people will shut them down. And now they're saying, oh, how did you push through this? How did you get through this considering you work so hard? And I'm just really confused because Jeffree's not a victim here. Jeffree was exposed for some extremely valid things. The guy has done a lot of nasty stuff, which he was rightly so exposed for. I don't get why we're getting this, oh, you couldn't defend Jeffree because people were mean about him and mean about you if you do so. It's like, well, yeah, what do you expect?
And I guess the level of hate, right? Let's be really transparent. I had never experienced that before.
It's a
how did you push through it?
When you're being attacked on such a public scale by so many people, that there's also a huge amount of people who love you.
Yes. And for some reason you forget.
It's so easy because they're not as loud because they get shut down or whatever. But
it's scarier to defend as well.
Yeah.
It is.
When I hear what these guys are saying in this interview, I don't see people who feel that they've done bad things and they're sorry for them. I don't see any regret. I just see people who seem to believe that the criticism that they've received is merely only hate and not valuable criticism. And I don't believe they've learned from this. I mean, it does get worse and worse. But to be honest, I don't think these guys acknowledge that they have been exposed for a lot of things this year. Maybe not so much Ryland, but let's be real. The guy, Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, they were behind the James Charles accusations. Jeffree Star has then gone on to podcasts where he's pushed the same accusations despite continuously saying he will never do it again.
It got to him asking me, so what's your opinion of James Charles? And keep in mind, a year ago, he called James Charles a predator and then refused to back it up with the receipts he promised he had. I told him my honest view, which is one that I was public with a year ago when it happened, and said, I felt like if you were going to call him a predator and promise that you had the receipts, you should have proven it and you should have provided those receipts and you shouldn't have tried to back out of it. I didn't feel that was right. He said, okay, I respect it, but do you want to know the truth? And this is the point where I wish I would have said no, in a way, but in a way not. He then provided me with receipts of a voice memo from a YouTuber who was allegedly molested by James Charles.
Think about this for a second. Jeffree Star has taken a potential victim's alleged story and gone round using it to score points and manipulate fellow curators into taking his side behind the scenes. So I think you guys can see why I'm getting upset by this podcast, because it seems to be that Jeffree is being weirdly played up to be some form of victim in this situation, despite all of his deplorable, terrible acts. Like, think about this for a second. Let's go through a little quick list of some of the things Jeffree Star has done. But before we do that, I do just quickly want to interrupt and be a little beg and say, hey, we're trying to hit 700,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we are uploading so much right now. We have a really, really nice community, so I would just appreciate it if you dropped a subscriber on that little button down there and just clicked it, because it would be great, you know, it would be beautiful. We've got a really nice community going here, and I really like what we're doing. So if you could subscribe, that would be beautiful. Number 1, you, Tati, and Shane convincing the entire internet, including myself, that James Charles was an extremely bad person who should arguably be in jail. And that was a complete facade, but even after that, you got another chance and you got allowed to release a series, release more makeup, get millions of dollars, and then you continued. Number 2, you've done the rounds going round to random creators such as FaZe Banks and Blair White, sending them some random voicemail which apparently exists and I've never heard or seen before, which apparently makes James Charles a bad person, but even then your intent was basically to get people on your side and to manipulate random creators. And even after the FaZe Banks podcast, you still didn't receive much criticism until this summer, when it really started to boil over and you finally addressed it all, where you used tragedy and murders of an innocent woman to deflect from the criticism directed at you. For me, that's the worst one. That is disgusting, like absolutely vile. You hired a PR team, in my opinion, to do that. They thought, oh yeah, we'll use someone else's tragedy to get over your career being ruined. Number 4, you said you're embarrassed to be involved in so much drama and that you're basically never going to get involved in it again, yet only 5 days ago, you were getting involved in a situation that didn't even involve you. Number 5, you were caught covering your tracks and deleting thousands and thousands of tweets, which you acknowledged could have got you in trouble, and then even then, you fell out with the person helping you. And then number 6 is pretty simple. All of the other things you've been exposed for in the last 10 years, because there are so many things, including Davy Vanity, just so many disgusting things that I am personally shocked you have gotten away with. I don't understand where this, oh, we're too scared to defend you. Why would they defend you? You've gotten away with so much, you're still a millionaire, you still acknowledged that you are still earning money from your company, and you're still making plenty of sales and getting by. There's nothing to defend here, and to me, this is just manipulation. This is just you trying to cover the tracks with your friends, trying to make it look worse than it was. No, mate, you this year have been truly done when it comes to being held accountable.
And I guess the level of hate, right? Let's be really transparent. I had never experienced that before.
It's a lot.
Well,
Bitch.
that's why.
Bitch. It was rough. Instead of waking up and being like, yes, bitch, we live for your work, it was like, kill yourself. You're the, like, this, the most heinous things. I've heard it all.
Right.
But to continuously hear that over and over and over, and it was just so crazy. And I'm like, this is crazy. So the new normal became aggressive, like mental abuse. But I'm not trying to say that for sympathy. You know, people are always going to say la 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 la.
I mean, yeah, people being me. I mean, the backtracking is quite impressive. And whilst, again, I don't agree with the death threats, I do have to say, once again, Jeffree, you went on a public podcast and spread the rumours you were spreading last year and said you were not going to do again, and then just continued to do that. Do you not think that that's going to spread hatred? The things you were spreading aren't exactly good. A big problem with YouTube is obviously if you call somebody out and you say something negative about somebody, a very, very, very minute percentage of somebody, yours or my audience, will send some very, very nasty messages, which obviously none of us creators hopefully ever will support. Obviously, calling out somebody for the rightful reasons and criticizing them is a good thing, and I don't think we should stop doing that just because there are a few very minuscule amount of crazy people out out there who will just tweet random hateful stuff merely for attention. And as I said, Jeffree, you are guilty of calling people out and most likely causing hatred directed towards them, especially last year during the James Charles situation, which you clearly haven't learned from, because as I've shown multiple times, you are still perpetuating that.
I guess yesterday there was a bunch of drama with other people not involving me, but people still want to mention my name. First of all, I have no idea what happened. I don't give a what happened. I'm too busy worrying about me, myself, my family, and I don't care. I don't entertain it. So if you were friends with me and you're not anymore, keep my name out of your mouth, bitch!
Yeah, normal unhinged behavior. I mean, I've quite possibly never seen somebody as unhinged as Jeffree Star. This man is a complete and utter child. I'm pretty sure this guy's in his 30s and he's screaming like that. And now, if you didn't know, this was the situation last week involving James Charles, Trisha, and Charli D'Amelio. And this guy, once again, has inserted himself into drama which he wasn't even involved in. And he even acknowledged that.
Not involving me.
Now, I don't even remember Jeffree being mentioned in that situation, but I do have to say, Jeffree, do you not realize that making stories like this is only going to direct your weird little stans into spreading hatred to the creators that you call out? And don't get me wrong, I like stan accounts. I actually think for the most part they're very nice and they're very supportive. But then again, if you have willingly chosen to dedicate your life to Jeffree Star, I think you need to seek therapy. So what I'm trying to say here, Jeffree, is that you have inserted yourself into situations which I can guarantee has directed some form of hatred towards James Charles and towards Charli D'Amelio and other people. It's something that you really can't escape, and I don't think we should stop critiquing people at the risk of some minute amount of people going out and tweeting some stupid things, which realistically isn't going to be seen by anyone. In my opinion, people say these things, especially problematic creators, because they don't want people to critique them so they can say, oh, I receive all these hateful messages, but then they never reference the actual criticism. They're doing that so their audience think the people that speak about Jeffree negatively are only being hateful rather than simply criticizing his terrible actions. And I fully acknowledge that there is this video of where Jeffree for about 20 minutes tragically pretends to be a human being, but let's be real, people, that is a video probably written by a PR team where they try to salvage Jeffree's tragic career, which has pretty much been ruined at this point.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Now, I've been silent for a very long time. I know that's very rare for me. I've taken a lot of time to do a lot of self-reflection. Now, in the past, I've been very guilty of speaking out of anger, out of frustration, out of my emotions. I'm so quick to grab my phone and just say whatever is on my mind in that moment without ever really thinking the ramifications of my words.
Keep my fucking name out of your mouth, bitch!
We know we're under attack! We know!
Yeah, I'm not particularly too sure where we've gone in this video, but it's something beautiful, and I think you should like the video and subscribe. All I can really take from this interview is the form of manipulation of trying to convince whatever audience they've still got left that they aren't necessarily completely in the wrong by saying these things and saying, yeah, we've received a lot of hatred. So have all creators involved in a lot of situations which they've put themselves in. It is terrible. I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, the reason you're getting hatred is because of the valid criticism put towards you. Jeffree Star is at complete fault for how his career is going so far. Did I mention his manipulation on Chris Hansen's show where he basically lied to Chris about Davi Vanity?
So yes, there was a time when we were friends. And I would love to talk about, because so many people, they want us to talk about my tweets, Chris. And I think that it's very important to address it. Why did I tweet certain things about him being a piece of shit and seeing things, and why did I work with him again? I really think that we should.
Yeah, he didn't tweet that he's a piece of shit. He tweeted a little bit more descriptive than that. He actually tweeted that the guy is a predator, and you can go find the tweets. I'm not going to say the words because this YouTube video will get flagged, but you can kind of tell that this guy was very much in the belief that Davi Vanity was a terrible person, and he was right. He is a terrible person, but then, you know, around a year or so later, he was touring with him at a music festival, and you know, there is so much more to this, and I have got a video on it as well, but it just seems like a bit of a tactic to again downplay a situation. And Chris did bring up the level of the severity of the tweets like 30 seconds after this, but even then, it's another situation which Jeffree has put himself in, which results in further criticism. And again, this was only in 2020.
It's so easy because they're not as loud because they get shut down or whatever, but
It's scarier to defend as well.
yeah.
It is.
I really want to know what they meant by this, and I keep bringing it up, but I just want to know, where could we have defended Jeffree in any of these situations? It just shows how delusional these people are. I mean, if you want even further proof that Jeffree's at fault here, Trisha Paytas, of all people, was right about Jeffree.
I love this. He goes, I don't give a but also let me talk about it.
I mean, she's not wrong. I don't usually agree with Trisha Paytas, but Jeffree Star very much is the king of, oh, my beautiful fan base, I'm never going to get involved in drama, I'm a lovely human being, and now I'm going to insert myself into drama, but guys, I'm not actually inserting myself into it. And they take this and they eat it up, the fan base, and for some reason believe it, that Jeffree Star isn't this king of drama. In conclusion, this guy needs to take some form of accountability, but I simply don't believe he ever will, because if he did, I feel like his career would probably be even worse off and he would lose even more subscribers. With the things he said so far, they are all lies, and you cannot say you took accountability if it was all a lie. But that is the ending of the video. Thank you so much for coming along. Now, I actually do get a lot of flack on some of these videos, so if you could just like the video, please maybe get this to 50,000 likes, because in my last video, Shane Dawson's fans came over and gave it a fair few amount of dislikes, so I would appreciate a like. I would appreciate it if you subscribed and got me to 700k, and also my social medias are there in the description at inabber69 on Twitter and inabber on Instagram. That is the ending of the video. Thank you so much for coming along, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, people. Have a good day.